What could be more evil than Nazis? Producer J.J. Abrams dares to imagine an answer in Overlord, a thrilling, pulse-pounding action adventure with an unexpected twist. Set in Nazi-occupied France mere hours before D-Day, Overlord follows a team of American paratroopers that come face-to-face with enemies unlike any the world has ever seen. You'll have to see it to believe it. Don't miss Paramount Pictures' Overlord in theaters November 9th. Rated R for strong, bloody violence, disturbing images, language, and brief sexual content.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Happy Halloween. The Fantasy Footballers are back. Andy, Jeff, and Ryan here. Another episode of the podcast. So much going on.
Just another day.
Yes, the coach is here.
Look, guys, this show has been too good.
Yeah.
It's been a 10-6 type of show. I ain't about that life. We're bringing it down. I ain't going no 7-9. But 8-8. 8-8 sounds real good, and I'm going to bring that middle line right to this show for everybody today.
Well, we appreciate that, Mr. Fisher.
Are we going 88 minutes?
88-minute show.
I'm going to win some. I'm going to lose some on every prediction on this show. 8-8.
So Ryan Fitzpatrick is here.
Hey, everybody.
Back from...
You know I'm back. I got my job back. D-Jax is ready.
Yeah, you're looking good. You got a little bit more chest hair than I remember you having, Mr.
I apologize for nothing.
Yeah, and I took some time, and I've got the bye week, and I figured why not step in and host a podcast.
Stop by the set, check it out, host a show. If your name is Andy, you become the host. I get it. It all makes sense.
Number 14, bringing it. All
Happy
right.
Halloween, everyone.
We've got a jam-packed show. Happy Halloween indeed. We have players that are going to haunt you the rest of the season. Pump the brakes on the show. We've got all the trade news, all the trade information you need. My goodness, is this Major League Baseball?
Oh, I love it.
Big names flying around. And look, I hope some of you stashed Mr. Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Let's go with this fine, quick question. Brooks, how are you doing today?
Excellent.
That's a
That's the
great
quick
question.
Great.
All right.
And moving on.
That was
It's
quick.
Halloween, and we want to compare. Look, my kids, they're ready to go. They have these new sophisticated inflatable costumes. Have you seen these?
Oh, my son has one.
They come, they're like $30, and they come with like a pump, an air pump that runs on batteries and inflates you to ridiculous sizes.
My son is a gigantic inflatable panda. He's a panda bear.
Yeah, and my son has one of those, looks like you're riding on a dinosaur because it's got the fake legs.
Oh, very cool.
Ooh.
See, the problem with the panda costume for my son is the elastic band that's supposed to go on the face swallows his face, so he's been eaten by a panda.
Scary.
Yeah.
Well, they like the candy. They're going after the candy. I had my favorites growing up.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody loved Halloween. Compare a player to a Halloween candy. That's your quick question of the day.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'll hop in. Because, look, I know it's a polarizing topic, a polarizing candy, and a polarizing player. But there's a truth to be had here. Marlon Mack is candy corn. Because
Disgusting?
not everybody likes candy corn, but in truth, candy corn is very good. Candy corn is delicious. It is a wonderful treat. And Marlon Mack is a good running back. Nobody wants to like him. It's in vogue to say, oh, he's not any good. He's, Paul Perkins. No, he's actually a quality running back. He was last year. He is this year. I like Marlon Mack rest of season, and I like candy corn. I will continue to eat it despite what every one of you all shaking your heads know in this room. Apparently, I am sitting alone, unless Baby Josh, where I can't see
There's
him, likes
no way
candy corn.
Baby Josh likes
Oh, he's
candy
giving me
corn.
the
He
thumbs.
does. Baby Josh likes candy corn.
Yeah, it's me and the baby.
Well, I saw a poll on Twitter. It was a 70-30 dislike of candy corn.
Yeah, that sounds
'cause
about
it's
right.
Terrible. Candy corn is the worst.
Let me ask a real question about candy corn. Does each of the colors taste different for real?
No.
Is it fake? Is it pretend?
Yeah, it's just color. When I eat them in pieces. I'll eat the white, eat the yellow, eat the orange. They all taste the same, which is delicious
Terrible.
wax.
Mike, compare a player to your favorite Halloween candy.
It's tough getting over that. I mean, you had to be Jeff Fisher to give a food take like that. Candy corn is good. I'm going with Jordan Howard is a Tootsie Pop. Because back in my day, Tootsie Pop, you're excited. Oh, I get a lollipop here. This is going well. It's pretty good. And it's terrible on the inside.
Hey, you don't like the inside.
What? No, it is awful.
Do you not like Tootsie Rolls?
Tootsie Rolls and the insides of Tootsie Pops are terrible, terrible things. And at the beginning of the season, when Jordan Howard was catching 3 passes a game, you went, holy crap.
That was your 3 licks?
In
the
exactly.
3 licks in the passing
You
game?
thought that it's all happening. It's coming true. They talked about Jordan Howard working on the jugs machine.
One.
And
A two.
and I've got a legit RB1. And then they said, no, in the past 4 games, we're going to give you maybe a target a game if you're lucky. And you're just back to Jordan Howard getting 12 carries on the ground. And now you're just stuck with the inside of a terrible Tootsie Pop.
Oh, well.
I actually really like the inside of Tootsie
Of course
Pops.
you do. Disgusting.
Back in my day. Back in my day, Tootsie
back in
Pops
Jeff's
were the...
day. I really hope that somehow, because we recorded this the night before Halloween, I really hope that Jeff Fisher's hired as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow.
I'm
Or not the
doing
Bengals. I'm sorry, the Cleveland Browns.
I'll take any one of those teams right now.
You don't care. All right, I'm going to compare Chris Thompson to Double Bubble. You guys know what I'm talking about with the Double Bubble?
Yeah, those are the those are the they make up 30% of all of the candy at the end of the day, and when you look through and you're like, oh, what'd I get?
Yeah, but you can
The little twisty bubble gums.
if you were going for size for bubbles, I mean,
Well,
Double
look.
Bubble can get it done.
Double Bubble. I just read this. They sell 138,000 pounds of Double Bubble a year.
Wow.
But here's the thing about Double
Much
Bubble.
ends up in the dump.
You get a couple of chews of flavor, and then it's gone. Your whole experience is gone. Everything's going fine. All this tastes good, and then it's junk. And unfortunately, you get about 2 chews into starting Chris Thompson.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got 2 good games to start the year off,
Yeah.
looking
Should have
good.
gone with Fruit Stripe.
Well,
That's not a
not a
Halloween.
Halloween candy, Mike. Get with
Fruit
the
Stripe
program.
gum is not Halloween candy?
No.
It can be, but it's not known as.
Right. When else do you get Double Bubble?
Yeah.
Do they sell that a different day of the year? Can you go to the grocery store
Get
and
some
in
Double
any
Bubble?
checkout line be like, oh, look, I'll grab a handful of these Double Bubbles?
No. So Chris Thompson, unfortunately, cannot stay healthy.
What happened to Single Bubble, by the way?
Went out with.
Skipped it.
Yeah. They sell only 30,000 pounds of that. But no, so we've got candy corn, Double Bubble, and Tootsie Pop. That was helpful for everybody. All right, on Twitter, you can find us at the FF Ballers. Definitely check out our fantasy football community. I looked at this yesterday. There are over 7,200 of you supporting this podcast at
Thank you so much.
jointhefoot.com. So
They appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fantasy footballers
Nice.
really appreciate it.
Nice.
Very nice. Let's get into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Well,
News. I'm starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
We already knew about that, but I needed to bring it up again because I'm back.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, you're back, but you would fit more with this news drop.
Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick back from the 70s to start this week in the National Football League.
Do you guys want 5 or 6 touchdowns this weekend?
I want 7.
You got it. I can do it.
Does that amount of chest hair absorb more impacts? Is that why you can?
Yeah. You try taking a helmet to the chest without this bag of fur.
All right. Here's the big trade.
You'd be deceased.
Demaryius Thomas was acquired by the Texans, traded from the Broncos in exchange for a 4th-round draft pick. It's
a great
very
move.
funny because the Texans play in Denver this week.
So cool. I saw your tweet, Mike.
Yeah, we have a full rock and jock situation here,
Just-
where a player has been traded mid-game
It's pretty funny because, I mean, he has to start now in Denver where he's made his mark. He's been a great player for them, and he goes to a good situation. Deshaun Watson, the Texans threatening for the playoffs, and fantasy-wise, this is good for Emmanuel Sanders. It solidifies him to me. Some of the things that he's done this year have been super impressive, but we're all holding our breath waiting for the next shoe to drop. And then ultimately, Cortland Sutton is the monster winner here because he is a beast of a man, and now he's going to get consistent snaps and more targets.
Yeah, he is a great wide receiver. He's my number one coming into the draft, and clearly the Broncos have fallen in love with the guy because he was in the preseason. He was in from week 1, even in 3 wide receiver sets, and now they have the confidence to ship off Demaryius Thomas, the main piece of their wide receiving core over the last several years. Cortland Sutton is, to me, I mean, we said this on yesterday's show and even last week's show talking on waivers. Now with this trade done, he has the chance to be a locked and loaded weekly wide receiver 2 straight off the waiver wires. I do see this as a downgrade for Demaryius Thomas. Not everybody will see it that way because you got an upgrade in quarterback, right? You're going from Case Keenum as what he was already being basically the number 2 there behind Emmanuel Sanders. Now he goes over to an upgraded quarterback in Deshaun Watson, but he's the number 2 behind DeAndre Hopkins. The reason I think it is a downgrade is it's just simple. When wide receivers change teams, it's not always good. It's not always quick and easy. This is a midseason changeover to a team that wants to, run the ball, have defense, and is a clear, it's not like Emmanuel Sanders. DeAndre Hopkins, another level of wide receiver 1. He is the clear-cut main guy there. And I think it's also bad news for Kiki Cutie.
Yeah, it certainly is. His ceiling in the role that possibly could have been there for him when he returns from his injury is capped. It's an interesting move. The Texans, they needed to do something. I mean, they're on their way for a playoff run, and they had to add a weapon. But this is interesting because the weapon they're losing or lost was Will Fuller, the field stretcher. Demaryius Thomas is not a field stretcher like Will Fuller anymore.
Well, neither was Kiki though, and I think ultimately
that's why I talked about Vincent Smith. Is this what are they going to do here?
But if you look at Thomas as more replacing the utility of a Kiki and being a more obviously healthy, established. Look, he wasn't doing anything in Denver, so I don't think it's necessarily it's a downgrade when you think about the expectations of what you had. Last 3 games for Demaryius Thomas: 3 for 30, 5 for 40, 3 for 50. Do I think he can catch 5 balls a game with Deshaun Watson? I do. And so, what is your expectation? 2-3 fringe guy? I think that's possible.
Yeah.
Especially the way teams rotate coverage to DeAndre Hopkins.
This also could, and I'm not saying it is, but we see moves like this happen that are good indications of other players who are injured not being as close as we all hope. So it could be one of those things where they know Kiki's a ways out.
Right.
Kiki might not be back for several weeks, and they have to have another wide receiver. But it was a smart move for both teams.
The Eagles have acquired wide receiver Golden Tate.
That's huge.
Wow. From the Lions in exchange for a 3rd-round pick. They've also restructured, the Lions have, Marvin Jones's contract. And this is kind of an interesting move overall, right? I mean, Golden Tate has been a centerpiece of the offense. And, 26% of all targets in Detroit.
27.
28.
Are you talking about Golden Tate?
Yes.
Yeah. I had him down as a 27% target share.
That's just a massive amount of targets. So you look at, it's a very similar situation as what we just talked about, where you remove a big piece.
I'll tell you this.
And Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay.
We're going to be talking about one of those guys in the main segment of this show. So
Which one?
We'll be talking about one of these guys. We're not going to dive too far into that.
Let's talk about it. It's eerily similar as far as who it helps and hurts, because I think Golden Tate owners have to be sad.
Yes.
You're going from a rapport where you are a 90 and 1,000 guy for the last 3 years with Matthew Stafford. Now you switch teams midseason. Sure, maybe you get a quarterback upgrade if you believe Wentz is better, but you are honestly you're downgrading. You're going from being the 1 or maybe the 2 in certain games to you're the 3 now, because Zach Ertz and Alshon Jeffrey are the 1-2. I do think that Golden Tate will have some good games for the Eagles. Certainly hurts Nelson Aguilar. I believe that this is just another receiver to take targets away from Aguilar. It wasn't like you were already banking on Aguilar, though.
It eviscerates Jordan Matthews, though.
It does.
Yes.
It does. Say goodbye. And on the other side, look, Marvin Jones's role becomes more secure from a target standpoint. He had only surpassed 60 yards one time in the first 6 games this year, and Kenny Golladay had the breakout first 4 games. So to me, after the breakout week for Marvin Jones this past week where he had 7 catches and 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, how do you feel about Jones? I mean,
spectacular.
Yeah, as do I. And then Kenny Golladay, more opportunity for him. So very interesting trade. And then some other moves. Ty Montgomery, if you want to fumble, get out of town. The Ravens acquired Ty Montgomery from the Packers in exchange for a 2027 round pick, which is the same as a bag full of double bubble.
Yeah, I think the bag full, they would have accepted that, but it just wasn't offered. This is, insane. You're basically cutting the guy.
Yes.
Except you get a pick, a worthless pick 2 years from now. They are punting him, and it's a great situation for the Green Bay Packers running backs. Now you've got a 2-headed monster instead of a 3-headed monster. I think Aaron Jones is looking mighty good.
He looks fantastic.
Especially since now with Ty Montgomery out, their upcoming games are with teams that are going to score. And it's going to be high scoring. Green Bay is going to need to score. They're going to be passing the ball. Aaron Jones has been great in that role. So and that was Ty Montgomery, he was a wide receiver. So he was always on the field in those situations. Now he's gone. And then on the flip side, Buck Allen, Alex Collins, it just muddies the water. Maybe this is replacing Kenneth Dixon, saying, okay, he's not going to come back off the IR. But you can't be happy if
terrible for all decisions for Baltimore running backs.
Yes.
You don't acquire a guy you don't want to use, and maybe it's special teams for the majority of it and rotating it for Buck Allen. But
they saw what he did on Sunday. They said, we got to get some of that.
The Bills have agreed to terms with Terrell Pryor.
Oh, Terrell Pryor!
Do we know the position they have agreed to terms with?
It should be quarterback.
It should
be. Yes.
It 100% should be quarterback. Derek Anderson's not going to play on Sunday. He'll be out with concussion. It's going to be Nathan Peterman because Josh Allen has been ruled out. He is not throwing yet. The Bills they're in trouble. You saw it. This past week when they wanted to go, they went. They're going full Wildcat on a bunch of snaps, throwing out every trick they possibly could to beat the Patriots.
If you
now have a legit Wildcat quarterback, and don't even give him a playbook. Just say, okay, Terrell Pryor, take a snap and do something really cool.
Yeah. You remember 7th grade? Do that.
You remember playing for the Raiders? Do that.
Yeah,
I think
seriously.
he has the longest touchdown run by a quarterback in NFL
does.
history.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great athlete. That would be cool. And if
he's going to play wide receiver, though.
Would you? So in truth, would you be willing to take a flyer waiver wire pick on Terrell Pryor in the hopes that they do utilize him from Wildcat and he just touches the ball more?
No, I wouldn't. That would be – I've got too many priorities as a fantasy owner at this stage of the season, too many things I'm thinking about, too many
if you're basically what you're saying is if you're chasing Terrell Pryor, you're in a bad situation. You're in a dark place.
Your boat is already upside down.
You know what? If you're 1-7 –
You can come to my cabin and hang out with me.
If you're 1-7, you should do that just for something to distract you, something to pay attention to. Also, news on A.J. Green's toe. At least one report from the Cincinnati Enquirer says that he will, quote, be fine and that the boot he was wearing is precautionary. They do have the bye week. It's just good timing for fantasy owners in that respect. So we'll find out what happens, and then maybe I have a receiver to throw to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're going to need him.
You got Boyd.
Yeah, I like A.J. the most. All right, we're going to get into Pump the Brakes and then a special Halloween segment of the show. Before we do that, we want to thank PUBG Mobile.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
baby. For PUBG, these guys have heard me talk about PUBG forever. One of my favorite games. And now you can gear up on mobile. Compete for glory on PUBG Mobile, the official mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It's got intuitive, customizable controls on your mobile device, one of the best mobile games available, and it's free to play. So you've got those 100-man battles, PUBG, last player standing. You can scavenge weapons and vehicles. And look, this is the whole PUBG experience on your phone. Tons of play modes. You can team up with other squads, play war mode, etc. Pulse-pounding, fast-paced action. Download the official mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for free. Go to your Android or iOS app store and type in PUBG Mobile. Collect a special reward using the link and promo code provided in the episode description. So pay attention to that, guys, and play right now.
And hey, Foot Clan, Christmas is coming up. Pristine Auction is such a great idea for you and your family. If you want to get the coolest, most awesome memorabilia signed with authentic signatures that are, you can be sure that these are the real deal, then head over to Pristine Auction. And here's a pro tip. Here's what I would do. Because it's a little bit early for Christmas, this is Halloween today. Now's the time where you start bidding on stuff. And because it's auction, you can win stuff crazy cheap. I mean, yesterday, David Johnson signed jersey, $67. A T.Y. Hilton signed football, $66. Michael Thomas, $49 yesterday, sold on auction. And what you do is you just start putting these bids in wherever you want. And whenever you actually win it, you start accumulating these things. You don't need to know who it's for yet. And then eventually Christmas rolls around, you go,
Merry Christmas to me!
One to you, one to me. So check it out. Go to Pristine Auction, Pristine auction.com. Make a completely free account, and make sure when you sign up, you let them know that you heard about them from the Fantasy Footballers podcast.
I have a follow-up real quick.
Okay.
Sean McDermott was asked about Terrell Pryor playing quarterback.
Oh, yes.
He did not dismiss it. He says the signing of Terrell Pryor, and it's all about the Bills' current situation at the position. Terrell Pryor.
If you could,
look, Pryor's he's not going to be the full-time QB. He will get a handful of snaps at the quarterback position.
And throw some passes.
Yes.
and some interceptions.
Maybe.
Maybe. He did this for a while.
In Cleveland, right?
When he was making the transition in Cleveland.
Yeah.
He took some Wildcat snaps. He threw a few passes.
And he was valuable for fantasy there. And you look, it's always nice if you could ever play a quarterback in a wide receiver slot, then you would do that. So, he's going to be a wide receiver in your platform. Still,
he's going to have to throw to himself.
Chasing after Terrell Pryor is, hey, it's Halloween. Ooh, it's spooky.
All right, well, you know what? It's Wednesday, and it may be Halloween, but we also have to pump the brakes. So,
O'Reilly.
Auto parts.
Ow! I think we did that better than Andy, Jason, and Mike have ever done that.
I agree. I'm pumping the brakes on Wendell Smallwood and Corey Clement because I believe that Josh Adams will become the man, or at least the man most dependable in that backfield in Philadelphia by the season's end. He's the better, bigger, stronger running back. And while I know that they can kind of lean on Smallwood right now, I don't think that's where they want to be. And Corey Clement, not enough snaps. I think you got to pump the brakes with your viewpoint. First of all, on Clement, look, I've got him in a couple leagues. I hoped for better things. It's not coming. And when I watch the tape, he moves his legs a lot. He ain't going anywhere. And then Wendell Smallwood, right now the volume's there where you can flex him. I'm not saying that you can't. But I think the transition's coming. So if there's opportunity to move him, if there's opportunity to protect yourself by picking up Josh Adams, I think that's what you do. I'm pumping the brakes on that backfield overall because it's just hard to predict, unfortunately.
Yeah, you never want to be in a backfield with three running backs. That's why I'm not quite as high on Josh Adams. But I agree. He has looked the best of the three, and I don't have any problem pumping the brakes on Smallwood and Clement. I'm pumping the brakes on Alex Collins. Speaking of three-headed running back by committees. Now, I had this in here prior to the trade for Ty Montgomery, so this is an even more aggressive pump. Two pumps.
Double up.
Alex Collins, he's going to be in a possible low-scoring divisional game. The Pittsburgh-Baltimore games, they're not always the fun, explosive offensive outputs that you want to see. But Alex Collins has been very touchdown-dependent this season. He already has 5 touchdowns on the season, which has really rescued some of his games where it's like, he was pretty good, even though he was ineffective on the ground. Pittsburgh is the second toughest matchup right now against running backs, specifically because they've only given up 3 touchdowns on the ground at all, like to running backs at all, not just the star, but through the whole team. That's 8 weeks, only 3 touchdowns. I don't see this being an Alex Collins touchdown probability game, so I'm pumping the brakes on him, especially now with Buck Allen and Ty Montgomery maybe mixing in Nelly.
Yeah, it's a messy situation, and it's kind of sad because you know that Harbaugh has wanted to have a guy there for so long, and they just haven't had it.
Yep, and I'm going to pump the brakes on Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's got to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Jason was just talking about the matchup, and look, despite the success of the booty scootin' one, Big Ben does not have much scooch to his booch.
I hope this can turn into a Russell Wilson situation where next week Andy pumps the brakes on whoever's playing against Baltimore and they explode after Big Ben explodes.
274-1. When he played them at home earlier in the season,
they're coming off a loss too. They're going to be hungry.
Division game, Big Ben against the Ravens. I am off. I'm trying to find a better option.
You think Ben maybe?
Yes, this is little bitty baby Ben. I get that it's the bye weeks are here. You might be forced into playing him, but if you're one of those teams that you got 2 QBs on your bench,
well, let me ask you this.
I'm probably playing that other quarterback.
Let me ask you this because I believe in my stream of the week, Derek Carr.
Right.
So who would you take? I mean, would you? Because I know you're not a fan of Derek Carr in general,
but I like Carr this week.
So would you play Carr over Big Ben?
Rankings will be up later today, and that's going to be one of those things that I'm looking at. But as of right now,
how does your chest hair feel?
Let me give it a rub. Rubbing through the chest hair.
Yeah, I'm not feeling comfortable right now.
And as of right now, I feel like Ben's going to be a low-level QB1 at best.
Okay,
he's still rubbing it. It's really troubling.
It's making my mustache tingle.
Oh my God.
NSFW, bro.
That was pump the brakes on whatever you were doing right there. That was pump the brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts, better parts, better prices every day. All right, we're moving on. How'd that make your mustache feel?
Still tingling.
It's a little frightening. We're going to go through here. Our special segment for this Halloween is we wanted to break down these rosters in the NFL right now and look at one player that we believe will haunt fantasy owners for the remainder of the fantasy season.
In whichever way that they're going to
look, you can be haunted in a number of ways.
Yeah.
Right? You can be tempted to start a guy when you should sit him. You could be, expecting something from a player that you never get.
You could have gotten rid of a guy who's going to haunt you because he's coming back into his own.
There's so many opportunities to be haunted. I'm going with I think it's Russell Wilson.
Ooh.
Or as we refer to him,
Russell Wilson.
Look, the math on Russell Wilson no longer adds up to fantasy success. And look, he's the 18th best quarterback in football. Okay? He was drafted, 2? 3?
Right.
3.
Last
Watson
year,
was higher.
Russell Wilson averaged 36 yards a game running the football, giving you that nice baseline. He is averaging 11 yards a game. Poof. Goodbye. The baseline is gone. Okay? I looked at some more numbers with Russell Wilson. We've talked about, Jason, you mentioned sometimes they hit these long bomb passes and it just makes him more efficient. Well, look, he has been more efficient in terms of touchdowns this year, but that scares me. It does not make me feel better. 34 passing attempts a game last year. He's down to 26 a game this year. Doug Baldwin just came out and talked about the fact that, look, their pathway to success and winning is on the ground. It's Chris Carson and Mike Davis. It's the Brian Schottenheimer haunts your soul offense. And it's going to hurt fantasy owners. 34 pass attempts a game last year, down to 26. It's 8 fewer per game. He's throwing a touchdown every 11 passes this year. Last year, it was 1 per 16.
Which is still,
so he's
it's still
saving
good.
you with the touchdowns. But his career average is 1 in every 17, which means he's outperforming efficiency-wise his career touchdown totals. They want to run the football. It does not mean you're not going to get the bomb to David Moore or Tyler Lockett. But right now, Russell Wilson is functioning in an offense that doesn't want to throw the football as much, does not want to put him in a position to run the football himself, and he does not have Doug Baldwin healthy
And
as a target monster, as a crutch for these situations. So to me, we've seen enough this year to tell me that if you go throw the name out there for the name's sake, you're in trouble. If you throw it out in a good matchup, maybe that's a different story.
yeah, I agree that the thing that is really spooky here is that
It's that mustache you have.
is my mustache. The scary issue with Russell Wilson is, in fact, that they have changed to be a rushing team. He's not getting the opportunities. The only thing I'll point out on the hopeful side is we've seen him have a bad first half of the season several years and catch fire in the second half. And, of course, he was, with a hobbled Doug Baldwin. We hope he's getting healthier. But I would say the biggest piece, Ed Dixon is back.
Of course.
It's funny. Last year, you look
So
at
he will still be good, is what you're saying.
21st in the league in rushing attempts last season. Number 1 this year. Number 1.
As a team.
As a team.
Not Russell,
30,
yeah.
more than the Rams, right? You see the Rams, I feel like they wind the clock out over the last 3 quarters with Gurley. But Seattle, and over the last 3 games, Seattle's averaged 37 rushing attempts a game. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So that's my haunt. I think you're going to be haunted by the name because it's just a big name. You expect more things.
Speaking of rushing and big names at the running back position,
Wow.
I am personally going to be haunted
Jared Goff?
by Adrian Peterson. And here's why.
The real Jeff Fisher's haunted by Jared Goff.
I am haunted by Adrian Peterson because I did not believe. My season-long rankings will be haunted by Adrian Peterson because he was very low. My dynasty team that I tried today to trade for Adrian Peterson was not able to do so.
what?
I did, because I feel like in a dynasty, I was hoping you could buy him cheap as an elderly gentleman. And I believe that the rest of the season, Adrian Peterson is going to be one of 2 things. Injured, in which case he's going to haunt you, or an RB1.
Wow.
Do you know that so far on the season, Adrian Peterson is currently on pace for an astounding 1,687 all-purpose yards with double-digit touchdowns, and we're halfway through the season. He has been great. He has done it back-to-back-to-back weeks with massive carry counts. The Washington Redskins are leading the division, and it's not on the back of Alex Smith. It's on the sturdy shoulders of Adrian Peterson.
Alex
So look,
Smith is throwing for under 200 yards, and Washington is 4th in the league in rushing attempts per game.
This is a question where it's not who's going to haunt you. This is who's going to haunt me.
Oh.
Adrian Peterson is haunting me right now, and maybe in this holiday season, this Halloween season, the Halloween and holiday kind of merged there.
I
Well,
gotcha.
now it became a Holloway season.
Well, that's the thing, is that I was leading toward back to you as the Fantasy Reaper, thinking maybe I could be rescued by the Fantasy Reaper, because I feel like
don't get
if
outta
I'm not,
here.
Adrian Peterson will haunt my season.
Wow. Well, he's,
I'm a believer now.
Look, he wants to prove everybody wrong.
Right.
He's a generational guy that, when you've got the Emmitt Smith type of player, the not just like, oh, he's really great, but this is truly one of the running backs of the era. Adrian Peterson, they can play into their later years.
Yeah.
We've seen it with other guys like this, and he's clearly shown it.
Now it's time for my hunt. You may have moved on too soon.
Wow.
Kenny Golladay returns. Marvin Jones. Oh,
Such a smooth,
the sax man.
Wait, so
He tuned up.
you're a fan of Golladay and Jones, and they're going to haunt owners that let them go
Yes.
too soon?
I get it. You were probably quaking in your boots the past 2 weeks when he saw a combined 3 targets for 3 receptions. I don't blame you. Things were not looking splendid for Kenny Golladay. But now Golden Tate is gone. We talked about it. 27% of the passes for Matthew Stafford are up for grabs. Matt Stafford is on pace for 4,400 yards and 32 touchdowns. In the first few weeks before Kenny Golladay had vanished, he was averaging over 5 receptions a game, over 80 receiving yards a game, and about a half a touchdown. Last year, Marvin Jones was a wide receiver 1 with over 1,100 yards. Golden Tate last year, 90 receptions, over 1,000 yards. I mean, it is happening. It is going to happen for Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. I think both are locked into that wide receiver 2. Who's going to be the huge beneficiary every single week? I think that will go back and forth. But now there is not that third option to take away from Jones and Golladay. They are a passing team. I know the attempts had kind of come down a little bit when Kerryon Johnson was having massive success. Johnson's also a huge
He's a
benefactor from Golden Tate going away. But I am so pumped for the Sax man, Kenny G, and for Marvin Jones moving forward. If you moved on,
It's going to haunt you?
It's going to haunt you. I'm sorry. We've all had these things happen. You trade a player, and then a situation improves overnight.
Andy
it's part of fantasy.
Andy was literally in the middle yesterday of trying to trade either Doug Baldwin or Marvin Jones as he's going back and forth in a dynasty league, and he almost traded away Marvin Jones seconds before that trade.
I went
came
with
through.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
But here, you know,
I had a trade earlier last week where I was moving some pieces to try and get Brandon Cooks to stack my starting roster, and I was offering the other team either Geronimo or Marvin Jones. You can grab whichever one you want. I don't care. They took Geronimo.
Wow.
And Marvin Jones on my bench. I'm like, from the bench right to my flex, man.
No doubt. And look, that's a huge target share. I'm with you. Would you rather have Kenny Golladay or Cortland Sutton rest of season?
Kenny Golladay.
And that's where I'm at because you go with the
Look,
quarterback.
I love Sutton, but this is
Matthew Stafford's pacing for 4,400 yards, 32 touchdowns, doing his thing.
yes. It's for Sutton. It's just a projection. For Kenny Golladay, we already have seen exactly what he can be if he's getting opportunity, and he's going to get it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. It's neat to see a couple of those situations breed opportunity for the younger guy, right? Cortland Sutton and Kenny Golladay get a chance to flash what I think is elite level size and ability for both players. So let's get into the Thursday night preview.
Thursday Night Breakdown.
Now, Coach, listen, you got to like this Thursday night matchup. You've got a 1-6 team facing a 1-7 team. You've been there.
Look, if I may say a word.
You may.
I know Gruden, you're on a long-term contract. I know Shanahan, the people there, they like you. But I can promise you my record would be better than this. If you want to improve by at least 7 victories over your 1 win and no more, look to me.
All right, the Raiders.
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's he's
off the hook entirely.
That's what he's flying under the radar of having a legit bad record.
Dude,
Yeah,
if I
but-
take over a new franchise as a head coach for the first time, I need to get rid of that starting quarterback. I need just buy me an extra year and a half like he's had of he gets to really hone his head coaching skills without any worry of he can't. Everybody still loves him. It's not his fault.
Well, it isn't. I'm one of those. I love him, but when you lose your starting running back and your starting quarterback, and you have the injuries that they've had, you get a free pass. And when he was hired, John Lynch, that was the perspective. It was like, this is a multi-year build.
Sure. Just saying. I mean,
1-7 though.
Games without Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback.
He's 1-1.
He's won a game.
Yeah, that's because he hasn't had anybody. And look at C.J. Beathard. He might not even have him in this Thursday night game.
Good luck.
He is questionable. The next two up on the depth chart are Nick Mullins. This is where you say who?
Yeah.
Or Tom Savage.
That's where I was looking. I was like, oh, man, were we going to get some Tom Savage?
I mean, it's
Get the Raiders D!
And then you got Matt Breida in this matchup. Look, Matt Breida and George Kittle are the only two that I'm glancing at for the San Francisco side. You're obviously playing Kittle. He's going to soak up targets, but it hurts Kittle if Beathard's not out there.
Yes.
I would also be willing to look at Goodwin. Goodwin had a breakaway touchdown, always has that ability, and the Raiders' defense, they don't have anybody over there that's going to really scare me. Now, this is dependent upon C.J. Beathard being the quarterback. C.J. Beathard has been able to air it out, throws a pretty accurate deep ball. So if C.J. Beathard is in, then I'm okay flexing on a bye week, the bye apocalypse, a Goodwin type.
Goodwin scored a touchdown every other week.
Oh, no, he scored last week.
Oh,
yeah.
These trends continue.
That's my kind of guy every other week.
And then look, the 49ers are third. They have the third most rushing yards in the league. Matt Breida was out there for 16 totes last week, and he's facing an Oakland Raiders defense that is 28th in the league in terms of fantasy points allowed to the running back position. And if Beathard, whether he's out there or not, they're going to lean on the running game.
Can you
Breida, you can play, right?
That's what I was going to ask. Is the matchup is juicy. Matt Breida is actually good, but he goes down every single week.
Yeah,
You saw the hit points were depleting rapidly with every single carry this past week.
Yes, but every single running back in the league can go down. If you have to play Matt Breida, he's close to a must start this week is how I view him.
Much better than a Mostert.
Oh,
because if you go
yeah.
Mostert, you may end up
as the Colonel on the bench with the clipboard.
Correct. And look, the only thing that I'd like to see from Breida is he hasn't caught a pass in 3 weeks. He's got one pass in the last 4 weeks, and I know he's been in and out of the lineup.
That's bizarre for Beathard.
But no pass catches from Breida. Last week, though, a number of carries, and all indications are that he's okay. Raiders gave up 42 fantasy points to the Colts RBBC last week, so there's an opportunity there. On the other side of the ball, Jason, you talked about streaming Derek Carr. It looks pretty nice. I mean, the 49ers defense is 25th in the league in terms of fantasy points allowed against the quarterback position. Carr looked good last week. Doug Martin, Jalen Richard.
I think you can start both of those guys. If I had to pick one this week, it would actually be Krampus.
Oh, no.
In the holiday spirit. He's coming for your children on Christmas.
Gobble, gobble.
Gonna eat them. Because this isn't a game that I expect the Raiders to be trailing in, need to throw the ball quite as much in the check down situation where I think Jalen Richard excels. I'm totally fine starting Richard. He'll get 5 or 6 receptions. I just don't think it's one of those where, like last week, the Colts got out to a good start, and then you've got to be passing a little bit more. I do still obviously like Derek Carr. He was my streamer of the week.
I think Beathard being out there is going to help both sides a lot because you want a competitive game. Richard's not catching 8 passes if the Raiders defense scores on Nick Mullins or Tom Savage, like you said.
Agreed. If Savage is the quarterback, then Derek Carr becomes much less of a desired streaming candidate because while he could still get off to a good start against this 49ers defense, he won't have to.
And it'll be Mullins. It'll be
going.
Mullins, by the way. I mean,
Now,
if Beathard's out, it'll be Mullins.
Question: if you're going to stream the Oakland defense, they are not getting to the quarterback. They have the fewest sacks in the league. They are allowing the second most points per game in the league, 31 points. Oakland's defense against this guy that that the vast majority of our audience has never heard of. Are you interested?
I am not. And Jason, you can speak for your own perspective. I looked into this earlier today. I'm not interested. They have not done – look, most defenses have had an opportunistic game or two here or there.
I mean, look at the Colts against the Buffalo Bills. The Colts defense was just an absolute trash bag. Then you put the right matchup in front of them, and they're a top-scoring defense of the week.
It's worked both directions, though. The Bears were the best defense in football, and they faced Brock Osweiler and ended up in a bad situation. So what I want to put myself in the best position to put talent matched up with matchup. And if you can't do it outside of Oakland, okay, then you're stuck. But if you can, I'm not looking at it like it's a guarantee, right? They're going to run the football. They've been 5 a carry on the ground. Oakland stinks at defending the run. It doesn't mean the 49ers can't win this game because Oakland stinks.
Yeah, I'm not all that interested as well. When you look at the season totals of what the 49ers are giving up to DSTs, it looks great. They're one of the worst out there, but they've had a couple monster games where they've given up a ton of points. It's really skyrocketing them to look like a terrible team, and those were against the Los Angeles Rams, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Arizona Cardinals. All three have decent defenses.
I'm hoping that maybe the hometown Cardinals can dress up as a real NFL team the rest of the year.
Oh, that'd be such a
for
Halloween treat.
Right? But that is it.
They're on bye.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to lose.
It's true.
There's no chance. So hope you enjoyed the show, and if you're not listening or watching, I should say, on YouTube, you might want to check it out. Jason looks real special today.
Jason's not here.
Yeah. So a reminder before we leave, go check out PUBG Mobile. Drop in, gear up, compete on PUBG Mobile, fighting explosive 100-man battles to be the last player standing. Experience incredible realistic graphics, a variety of play modes. And look, you can download the official mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for free. Just go to Android or iOS and type in PUBG Mobile. Collect a special reward using the link and promo code provided in the episode description. Play now.
I got a question for you guys.
Go for it.
Do you know what the best part of Halloween is?
Is this a dad joke?
No.
Okay.
This is a real Mike take.
What's the best part?
I put up my Christmas tree tomorrow.
Oh,
do you really?
Yo, let's go. Let's get this trash holiday out of the way and get to the real main event.
100% my tree will be up tomorrow.
High five, bro. Christmas time.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down. All right. That I do like the candy, though. I mean,
Look,
we
whatever.
bribe the kids. I eat their candy. They get like $5.
Check out draft.com/ballers if you're going to play some daily this weekend. See you tomorrow, Foot Clan. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.